So back in 2019, when you worked at Disney, the Disney Corporation, you could expect a long and pretty stable career. It's a huge company, lots of things you could keep doing there at a pretty good salary. And the only cost would be you have to follow the rules. Disney at the time was getting increasingly political, and the people who worked there were expected to go along with this. So don't say anything and you'll be absolutely fine. But for some reason, she could not follow that rule.
Win big against Disney. Lawsuit discovery battle. Judge orders Disney to hand over actors' pay records. Boy, we're going to learn what everybody made on these to see exactly how much they stole from the great Gina Carano. Again, a character that everybody loved.
I don't worship your business, and my God is bigger than Disney. So this is where I'm at.
Gina Carano was a popular MMA fighter who did 7 episodes of the show Mandalorian playing the character of Cara Dune.
Did you see, Stu, that Gina Carano has just won a lawsuit against Disney?
Yeah. That doesn't normally happen, does it?
No, it really...
Disney has some big lawyers.
No.
What an evil empire, man. Gina Carano had so much evil, vicious venom spat on her from Disney on the way out. People clearly had an agenda.
It says Gina Carano wins big against Disney in lawsuit discovery battle. Judge orders Disney to hand over actor pay records within 20 days.
Discovery motion granted. That's right. In the Gina Carano case against Disney.
Gina Carano had a promising career where she was going to get her own Star Wars show, but then she was fired, but now she's fighting back, suing Disney.
Someone like Gina Carano, who's a fighter by trade, and who's like actually a beloved, strong female character that Disney had. Like Disney had one universally appreciated strong female character, and they destroyed her for nothing. There was nothing wrong with Gina Carano's post. Nothing wrong. Nothing.
8 months ago, Disney took a massive loss in their battle against Gina Carano, whom they fired unlawfully, by the way, for her political opinions.
In 2021, for all of these people, this Disney and Lucasfilm, to make me really think about, oh geez, where is my line? That's not what I want to say, and that's not what I want to... I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
She said she did all the meetings and built a good relationship with the LGBT people that she met, but she wouldn't agree to Disney's plan to have her do a full apology. Then after that, Gina Carano was fired by Disney after making a pretty stupid tweet comparing the left to Nazis in Germany. But now, years later, she's coming out suing Disney for wrongful termination, and Elon Musk is financing the lawsuit.
Nastiest attorney firm in the history of the world. I don't think there's any corporation that is more nasty than, than the Disney Corporation.
And of course, Gina Carano, with the help of Elon Musk's lawyers, decided to go after Disney, file a lawsuit.
The order comes after 8 months of what Carano described as Disney's deflection and stalling in her wrongful termination lawsuit.
But I feel like you're pushing your ideologies on me, and you are, and you're backing me into corners that I had to draw a line, and they kept crossing it.
Hello, Disney. You're going to have to redo your film again, because this woman is a pig, and you fired Gina Carano for far less than this nonsense.
Despite holding completely different standards for other people in their employment.
If you thought Rachel Zegler's mouth caused a stir, just wait till you hear how massive this courtroom bombshell is for Gina Carano. The mouse has wandered straight into another legal landmine, and this one's primed to blow bigger than a Death Star. Gina Carano, best known from The Mandalorian back when the show still had a pulse, is going head-to-head with Disney in a lawsuit that's spicier than any overpriced popcorn tub at your local theater. Buckle up, this one's wild.
In fact, the judge kind of smacked Disney down in the aftermath of this ruling, saying that Disney has provided absolutely nothing that could justify their actions in this case, and it would move forward to trial.
Yes, folks. Disney, the nostalgia-fueled giant that's built an empire off childhood dreams, is now stuck in a legal showdown so wild, it makes the Battle of Hoth look like a nap in a snowbank. This isn't just courtroom drama, it's a no-holds-barred clash that threatens to rip the magic carpet right out from under the mouse. Behind the glitzy castle walls, allegations of corporate arrogance, wild pay gaps, and maybe even a few forgotten churro receipts buried in the vault. While the mainstream media keeps yapping about whatever ride just opened in Orlando, we're digging into the story that actually matters. So buckle up, because it's time to see the mouse take a real hit. Once upon a time in a galaxy not so far away, Gina Carano wasn't just an actress, she was an MMA powerhouse. Fans loved her because she could smile sweetly and then knock someone flat without blinking. And now, she's ready to take that same energy into the courtroom.
Moment where you were gonna come back. You're the OG.
Oh, well, I mean, gosh, there was...
No, you're the OG.
Thank you.
In terms of women's MMA, who is more OG than you? You're the original star.
Well, like, not MMA, but like Lucia Riker.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and Muay Thai, yeah. And in boxing, yeah. And then there's Christy Martin and, you know, a lot of other folks.
And then there was like the Debbie Purcells and Erin...
Ann Wolfe.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of like women combat sports athletes, but in terms of MMA, you're the OG.
Well, I appreciate that coming from you. That means a lot.
Gina realized she could do more than just bruise egos inside a cage. So Disney gave her a shot in The Mandalorian, one of the crown jewels of Disney+. And for a hot minute, everything seemed golden. Fans loved her, the show soared, and the mouse had itself a new action star. But you know how Disney rolls? They love you right up until you stop acting like their personal Pinocchio. The moment you stop dancing on their strings, snip! They cut the cord, just like that. Boom. Gina was out, ejected like a faulty escape pod mid-hyperspace jump. Officially, Disney said her personal views didn't align with their family-friendly image. You know, the same family brand that once showed kids getting eaten by a giant whale in Pinocchio. But hey, details, right? Gina wasn't about to go quietly into the Tatooine sands. She lawyered up, big time. And guess who's backing her? None other than Elon Musk. That's right. If you're going to take on the galaxy's biggest entertainment empire, you might as well bring along the world's most unpredictable billionaire.
If I'm not supposed to go back to storytelling in Hollywood and nobody's hiring me because I got completely shamed, then okay, I'll let it go if I have to. And as soon as I did that, a week later is when Elon Musk's attorneys who he had hired out emailed me and said, we're interested in looking into your case.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how we ended up here. A full-blown lawsuit for wrongful termination and discrimination, starring Gina Carano versus the almighty Mouse House in the legal boxing ring. But before we step further into the courtroom chaos, don't forget to like and subscribe. Because unlike Rachel Zegler, I know I'm nothing without your support. Now, let's get back to the drama. If you blinked, you probably missed it, because mainstream media barely touched this wildfire. Big-name outlets gave Gina's firing a quick mention, then scrambled back to fluff pieces about Disney's latest over-polished spectacle starring a talking chair or enchanted tea kettle. Why the radio silence? Maybe everyone figured Carano's claims didn't stand a chance. Or maybe, just maybe, Disney gently reminded them who keeps half of Hollywood's lights on. Casual reminder, when the mouse sneezes, the industry catches a cold. So why cover a rebellion when you can ride the monorail, right?
Well, here we are 8 months later, and somehow, some way, it looks like Disney doesn't want to turn over some of their internal data. Isn't that weird? Despite the fact that they were ordered to do so by a judge, Disney's been dragging their feet. Gina Carano accuses Disney of stonewalling as trial date delayed to 2026. Effectively, that Disney hasn't handed over all the discovery that they're supposed to. They're taking every route they can to get out of this. They're trying to delay, they're trying to deflect, they don't want to give up what they've been ordered to give up.
Behind closed doors, though, whispers started leaking from deep within the Disney kingdom. Rumors that not everything was as squeaky clean as the fairy tale facade. Sources claimed strange memos were circulating, sudden policy shifts were popping up, and there was more hush money floating around than in your average political scandal. Word was, Carano's lawsuit wasn't just an irritation, it was a termite gnawing through Cinderella's castle walls. And with Elon Musk's circle backing her, this wasn't a fight anyone could just wave away with a glittery wand. Disney's legal sorcerers tried to make it all vanish, of course. They argued the lawsuit was baseless. Surely the House of Mouse, armed with their bottomless legal budget and a battalion of corporate lawyers, could squash one defiant actress like a bug on a storyboard, right? Wrong. The judge took one look at Disney's magical excuses and basically said, nice try, now hand over the documents. Boom. Just like that, the untouchable empire had to face something it's expertly dodged for decades. Real accountability.
Now, let me just say that this is something that Disney could have done in the way that almost every single entity ever does this, which is to say, You were gonna have to do it anyway. Just be polite. This is a formality, Disney. But you know what? Another win is another win.
So once again, they need to have the judge step in, and once again, Gina Carano gets a massive win against Disney.
Turns out, Gina Carano's claims weren't just spicy headlines. They were serious enough for a judge to slam down the gavel and demand a deep dive into Disney's vault. The court dropped a bombshell. Disney must hand over internal emails, communication records, actor pay breakdowns, and basically the entire corporate kitchen sink. And if that wasn't juicy enough, the judge also ordered Disney to reveal how they determine who gets paid what for their Star Wars projects. Imagine the panic in the boardroom. Wait, we have to show them Pedro Pascal's paycheck? That's our entire formula for printing money. According to Carano's legal team, Disney's reaction was less, let's cooperate, and more, we'd rather eat a day-old corn dog off the theme park pavement than hand this stuff over. They allegedly delayed, dodged, denied, claimed files didn't exist, hid behind legal fog, basically the same way they pretend certain older cartoons in the vault never happened. For 8 long months, Carano's lawyers kept poking the corporate beast, and Disney kept playing dumb. Very convincing, right? But hey, you don't become a billion-dollar empire by throwing your hands up and saying, oops, our bad. The judge wasn't buying it. Because let's be real, when a company can build lifelike animatronics that sing in sync with fireworks, yet claims it can't produce a spreadsheet on time, yeah, that raises a courtroom eyebrow. Enter the latest twist. A brand new ruling gives Disney 20 days, yes, just 20 spins of Cinderella's carousel, to cough up those actor pay records. And no, a crumpled napkin with numbers scribbled next to a Dole Whip doesn't count. We're talking real, verified documents here, full breakdowns of who got paid what across The Mandalorian, Andor, and even that upcoming and questionable Mandalorian and Grogu movie.
Gina Carano wins big against Disney in lawsuit discovery battle. Judge orders Disney to hand over actor pay records within 20 days.
If Disney misses that 20-day deadline, picture the legal equivalent of Mickey Mouse getting locked out of his own castle. We're talking massive court sanctions, negative inferences from the judge, or even a jury instruction that basically says, hey folks, if Disney won't show the receipts, maybe they're hiding something. Draw your own conclusions. You can practically hear the stress through the smiles of those poor cast members sweating inside their oversized mouse suits at the next parade, while Disney's legal team hits DEFCON 1 behind the scenes. So why are we all obsessively refreshing court dockets like they're the next big Disney Plus drop? Because this case is way more than just one actress throwing punches. It's about what she lost after being silenced. Gina Carano's lawsuit argues that she was unfairly axed and, in the process, robbed of millions in future earnings from Star Wars shows, films, and spin-offs she claims she would have landed if not for her so-called ideological crimes. Her legal squad isn't just looking for sympathy, they're demanding data. They want to see what other cast members in the Star Wars universe earned. It's the ultimate who wore it better showdown. Only instead of fashion, we're dealing with contracts, credits, and cold hard cash.
In a major legal victory for Gina Carano and her lawsuit against Disney, the U.S. District Court for the Central District of California has granted a motion to compel Disney to turn over key documents related to how other Star Wars actors were compensated, including big names like Pedro Pascal, Rosario Dawson, and the cast of The Mandalorian and Grogu.
The court is forcing Disney to turn over information about how the stars like Pedro Pascal, Rosario Dawson, and others from The Mandalorian and other Disney Plus Star Wars shows and the following upcoming movie, The Mandalorian and Grogu, were compensated for their roles. Oh my gosh, we're gonna get all that information.
If those spreadsheets end up revealing that Carano was potentially in line for a king's ransom, comparable to heavy hitters like Pedro Pascal or Rosario Dawson, then brace yourself, because the mouse will be squirming harder than Donald Duck in a sauna. Even worse, those records could expose a much larger pattern, maybe even hinting that Disney had a habit of low-balling cast members whose tweets gave the execs a little heartburn. And if Carano's lawyers catch even a whiff of that kind of behavior, you can bet they'll demand more documents, more emails, and more behind-the-curtain peeks. At that point, we're not talking about a simple court case anymore. We're talking about a full-blown corporate meltdown the size of Epcot. Now, you might think Hollywood's elite are brushing all of this off, but behind closed doors, the vibe is less red carpet and more high school reunion. Awkward, tense, and packed with secrets. Industry insiders are whispering, if Disney can't shut this down, who's next? Because the entertainment world thrives on two things: mystery budgets and polished PR. The last thing the studios want is a precedent where any actor can slap down a subpoena and say, "Remember when you ghosted my check because I posted the wrong meme?" Whispers are growing louder inside Disney's own castle walls. Some execs reportedly want to just cut Carano a check and make it disappear quietly. Others are itching to go nuclear, drag it out in court, delay until 2026, and hope she burns out before they do.
In this high-stakes battle by playing procedural games. And that seems to be what Disney has been doing, trying to delay. And I think, this is speculation on my part, but I think they're trying to delay to the point that this trial, the lawsuit, lands after the Mandalorian and Grogu movie is out. They haven't managed to do that yet.
But Carano, armed with Elon Musk's digital war chest, isn't showing any interest in hush money. She doesn't want a quiet payout. She wants to pry open Disney's vault and let the secrets spill. And you can practically hear the nervous whispers from other studios, "Please, Disney, keep it together. Don't let her crack us all open like this." Now all eyes are on the clock. Will Disney meet the court's deadline with the real deal? Or will they try to pass off some half-baked spreadsheets that look like a kindergartner's math assignment? If they fail, the consequences are brutal. Court sanctions, more motions, and potentially a jury being told that Disney is obstructing justice. Translation? Hey jurors, if this looks shady, you're not wrong. Meanwhile, Carano's legal team is crouched and ready, like a hungry cat eyeing a squeaky plush mouse. They've already made it clear, if Disney tries anything funny, they'll pounce. Hard. Of course, the actual trial isn't happening until 2026, because the legal system moves at the speed of molasses uphill in winter. But with every twist, Carano's case keeps building momentum where it counts. The court of public opinion, even if the mainstream media keeps treating this like week-old leftovers, ignored until the smell's too strong to pretend it doesn't exist, inside Hollywood, people are paying attention. Word is, Disney's executive suite is in full-on civil war. Some insiders say top brass are begging to just cut Carano a check big enough to buy her own moon and make this go away. Others are digging in their heels, insisting they fight for principle, which most people read as protecting egos. If you're picturing tense conference room lightsaber duels, honestly, so are we. As for Carano's side, from what insiders are leaking, she's not budging an inch. No deals, no backing down. Not unless her name gets cleared, and Disney's skeletons get dragged straight into the spotlight.
I did tweet about this. This is a small breath of fresh air in this long, arduous process. I'm grateful to the court for moving so quickly. I look forward to the details of my case becoming public and clearing my name, which will allow me to continue to do what I love without such brutal discrimination. I remain incredibly grateful for this opportunity to defend myself against this Goliath.
And with Musk's financial firepower behind her, Gina Carano isn't running on fumes. She can afford to play the long game. She's not your typical Hollywood outcast who vanishes into obscurity after getting blacklisted. If anything, she seems perfectly fine with staying off the mainstream grid, just as long as she can keep dropping bombs big enough to rattle the castle walls at Disney HQ. For the longest time, Disney's held a tight grip on the mainstream narrative, thanks to deep partnerships with major networks and the kind of media muscle that makes most critics think twice. Who wants to get blacklisted by the mouse, right? They've skated past scandal after scandal with barely a scratch. But the game has changed. Thanks to alternative outlets, indie news creators, and YouTubers like us, there's a brand new spotlight shining on the stuff Disney would rather sweep under its magical rug. Sure, cable news won't air daily updates on Carano's crusade for justice, but online communities? They're buzzing like they've discovered a Disneyland for adults. A place where you can actually question how the mouse runs its kingdom. This new wave of digital watchdogs might just keep the pressure hot all the way to 2026, whether Disney likes it or not. And if Carano's team decides to start leaking little breadcrumbs, emails, numbers, internal notes, oh, watch out. Social media will explode. Industry insiders already call this case a landmark moment. Not because it's guaranteed to topple Disney, but because it could change how studios handle outspoken talent. If Carano lands a big win, it could open the floodgates. Suddenly, other actors might feel brave enough to challenge the NDAs, the backroom bans, the whisper blacklists. It's Pandora's legal box. Once you open it, good luck shoving the skeletons back inside. For Disney, this isn't just about dollars, though there could be a lot of them on the line. It's about brand, reputation, synergy, synergy, synergy. That magic word execs toss around at stockholder meetings like fairy dust. If the court rules that they fired someone over personal beliefs and tried to bury it, That's a scandal no amount of singing princesses can scrub clean. And don't forget, this 20-day court deadline is the doomsday clock. If Disney keeps dragging its giant yellow shoes, the judge might hit them with serious legal penalties. Imagine the courtroom telling the jury, yeah, Disney refused to hand over key records. Interpret that however you like. That's basically handing Gina a lightsaber before trial even starts. Now, if Disney does deliver the spreadsheets and everything checks out squeaky clean, maybe they'll catch their breath. Unless those clean-looking numbers quietly reveal a pattern. Something buried in the data, like under-the-table pay gaps or secret memos tied to her firing. They better hope there's not some email floating around with a subject line like, "Get rid of her ASAP." So here we are, folks. The Magic Kingdom might be running low on magic. Gina Carano is standing at the gates prying open the vault, potentially exposing how the mouse handles paychecks. And maybe, just maybe, pulling back the curtain on the corporate panic that led to her exit in the first place. Meanwhile, mainstream media is busy sipping lattes and quietly hyping Disney's next billion-dollar attraction. But the real fireworks? They'll go off the second Disney drops those pay records into the courtroom. It could trigger a meltdown so spectacular, it'll make Disneyland's nighttime show look like someone flicked a lighter. Is this the final straw that cracks the empire, or will Disney work its usual magic trick? Distract, delay, and dazzle until the world forgets. Only time will tell. The trial's set for 2026. That gives us a year to watch this pot simmer until it boils over. But mark these words, if Disney keeps playing games, the judge just might hand Carano the keys to the kingdom. Or at least a legal lightsaber sharp enough to cut straight through the mouse's carefully guarded secrets. Stay tuned right here for every shocking update, because if the mainstream won't spill the tea, we will. And hey, if you haven't already, smash that subscribe button. Unlike Disney, we won't charge you an extra fee for peeking behind the curtain. Drop a comment below. Do you think Carano's about to blow this thing wide open? Or will Disney conjure up one final plot twist? Either way, the countdown is ticking, the pressure is rising, and the world's biggest entertainment empire is sweating bullets beneath the Florida sun.